Okay, folks, I just got done watching the latest live stream from Eric July, in which he did not reveal the artist for Alphacore number 1. Apparently, the artist for Alphacore number 1 is not going to be revealed until the first day of the campaign. That is leading me to kind of get my wheels turning as to who it might be. And that, combined with some, artwork that I saw this past week, kind of leads me to think I might know who the artist on Alphacore number 1 is. So I'm going to go ahead and publish an official guess. This is just a guess. I don't have any insider information telling me this is who it is. I don't have any leaks. There's nothing through the grapevine or anything. This is me just trying to put 2 and 2 together as to who I think number 1 would be one of the most exciting choices for an artist for Alphacore number 1. Number 2, who I think, based on some of the little bitty clues that Eric has given, which has not been a lot. I mean, honestly, the only thing that I know, and I'll kind of get to this in short order, the only thing that I know for sure, or that I feel like I know for sure, is that it's going to be a established artist. It's going to be somebody who's been in the business for a long time. So it's probably somebody who, like Chuck Dixon, who he got to work on as the writer for Alphacore number 1, is not like heavy and knee-deep in his own, writing and stuff for either the big 2 or for other, his own interests. He doesn't have his own creator-owned project going. He doesn't have, a whole lot of work from the big 2, although the other thing that Eric dropped today was that leftists their heads are gonna spin when they find out who it is, and that leads me to think that it's not one of the people who's out in the wild already. Because if it was a comics gator, for example, if we were talking about Graham Nolan, and I have to say, Graham Nolan would be the most obvious choice, I would think, just because it is a police procedural. Alphacore is supposed to be. And Graham Nolan is, of course, famous for Batman, which has to do a lot of, or Detective Comics, one of the two, whichever one he worked on, that had to do a lot with Batman and his kind of detective work and such. So the grim and gritty streets of Florispark, that kind of stuff would be particularly suited for Graham Nolan's artwork. Plus, Graham Nolan also worked with Chuck Dixon on the book Joe Frankenstein, so they are used to working with each other. So, honestly, if I were a betting man, then I would probably bet on Graham Nolan, but that's not my guess. And the reason is I don't think that would really be the head spinner, the exciting thing that would really get people going. Graham Nolan, people already know he's in Comicsgate. He's a regular on Ethan Van Sciver's show. It's not going to be like, popping the top of any leftist heads for him to be the person announced for the book. So I could totally be wrong about that. Like I said, I have no inside information, but if we're really talking about somebody who's going to aggravate the left, if it's going to really outrage the leftist hater base, you could call it, Graham Nolan is not the choice that I'd go with. Moreover, here's the real kicker, is that Eric's not announcing who the artist is until the campaign itself actually drops, which leads me to believe that this is an artist who is still working for the big 2. Now, it's not going to be an artist who is, like, knee-deep in assignments. He's not, like, everywhere, and he doesn't have his own dedicated title. But I kind of think that he might be somebody who is just kind of on the tail end of a story arc that he will be rolling off of soon enough. And when that happens, he will be, obviously, available. But he doesn't have so much to do that it would actually conflict with his work for the big 2. Moreover, and this is kind of just speculation on my part, you've got a character in there, Brian Solari in the Alphacore. Who does he remind you of, especially? Well, he kind of reminds you of Superman, naturally, especially with the last name Solari. I mean, that almost begs to say he's powered by the sun. Could be totally unrelated, I don't know. I certainly haven't read the Documon cards to know. But he seems like a Superman-type figure. And there is one particular artist who is working for one of the big 2, DC specifically, who is known for his work on characters like Brian Solari. specifically Superman and Shazam. I'm talking about, this is the time for the drum roll, my guess for the artist on Alphacore number 1, Jerry Ordway. That's right, Jerry Ordway, who, along with John Byrne, drew Adventures of Superman back in the day, when after Crisis on Infinite Earths came out and Superman was rebooted as the two titles Superman and Adventures of Superman. Jerry Ordway was on Adventures of Superman, John Byrne was on Action Comics and the Superman title itself. Jerry Ordway was also on Power of Shazam. He did the graphic novel first, and then he did the approximately 50-page omnibus. And honestly, DC Comics, if you're listening, now is kind of the perfect time to put out a Power of Shazam omnibus. I mean, I don't know why you haven't. It's practically 52 issues, and you know that, that's what you're good at, is multiples of 52. But Jerry Ordway is currently working part-time, I would say, on Justice Society of America for DC Comics. And so he is working for the big two, but at the same time would have enough freedom where he could, as a side project, work on Alphacore number 1. And here's why I think that combination would be tremendously exciting and a boon to the Rippaverse. If you got Chuck Dixon and Jerry Ordway on Alphacore number 1, that would be like the perfect blend of the old guard and the new guard. Gabe Al-Taib, you got Cliff Richards, these are kind of new guard type guys. And of course, Eric July is writer himself, new guard. But you get Chuck Dixon and Jerry Ordway, these established talents, on Alphacore number 1. And now you have truly the best of both worlds. I honestly, that is the most exciting choice that I can possibly think of. Now, of course, somebody else might come out of the woodwork and be the person who is going to be that one. I mean, for all I know, I just mentioned John Byrne. It could be John Byrne. But Jerry Ordway, I think, is probably the one that I would see. The thing about John Byrne is I don't know if John Byrne's actually drawing anything right now, if he's doing anything for IDW. If he is, then he may still kind of be under the same kind of restriction where he can't really say, what it is that he's doing. That would be the restriction, but I don't think so. Especially since IDW has kind of gone under. So what if John Byrne jumps ship? I don't even know if there's a ship to jump. But if you're still working for DC, then going to the Rippaverse and working for the Rippaverse after working for DC, you might not have a road back. And that's why I'm thinking that Jerry Ordway is the one, because once he's established on Rippaverse, they might not want him back at DC. And so, this might end up being his, career in terms of how he ends up in the artist world, is doing books for Rippaverse, which I hear pays very well. So good for him if it is him. Now, that is my guess. I am guessing that Jerry Ordway will be the artist on Alphacore number 1. I could completely be wrong, egg on my face, etc. I just wanted to go ahead and put that guess out there into the ether. I haven't heard anybody else express that guess yet. If you have expressed that guess, well, good for you. You were first. I just probably don't know who you are, so I didn't see it on your channel. But, yes, I'm going with Jerry Ordway. So, thank you for coming to watch. I hope the idea of Jerry Ordway working on the Rippaverse, working with Chuck Dixon on Alphacore number 1, excites you just as much as it excites me, because that would be oh goodness, I would have such good feelings going in on that book. And, it'd be one that I would be happy to pick up. It wouldn't be a begrudging, well, I got to review this. It'd be like, I really want to see this, and I really want to see it do well. which I have to admit was what I thought of ISOM number 1 at first, and then you saw what happened 12 videos later. So we'll see. We shall see. But if Jerry Ordway is in fact the artist on Alphacore number 1, then I will be very, very pleased and very, very enthusiastic about that book to come. I'm Mike Partika. Thank you for watching. Please join me over on Gab. I don't have a Twitter account anymore. And also, I'm available on Rumble and BitChute if you prefer those video platforms. You might be watching this on Rumble or BitChute now. What the hell am I talking about? So if you like YouTube better, you can go over there. I don't know. I got to figure out a freaking outro for these videos that makes some kind of sense, because I swear to God, ever since I got kicked off of Twitter, I've been like trying to fit in like all the different platforms that I'm on, and it just comes out in one big freaking hodgepodge mess of eventually word salad by the end. So I don't know what I'm talking about at this point, other than to just say again, I'm Mike Partika. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Also like this video if you thought it was informative, and I will talk to you later.